God. Like someone wrote a comment on one of my videos and said, do you believe Jesus is the Son of God? And I wrote, I think Jesus is an ascended master and all of us are children of God. And she didn't like that comment. And she's like, I'm done. She's like, you need to read this. And she gave me some link on the Bible. Like if you don't profess the Jesus is the Son of God, then you are basically worshiping Satan. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to answer those questions anymore.
Well, you can't engage with that because there's no win on that.
There's
Mary's making comments here.
That was the one I was telling you about. Yeah. She's such a lovely lady and she always follows, she watches all the videos.
Right. So, one demon removed left shoulder, another has jumped on. Yeah, I can address Mary today. She's probably there because she's got she can't afford the dollar. So what I'll do is I'll address the dollar issue from my website of how much it cost.
Okay. Oh, I didn't see her last one. I think I might be in more.
Yes, I did check out your site. No way could this older gal on fixed income handle the dollars. Yes, I know you offer one free. Well, I refrain from being a user of something I know I will not have funds for. Continue to think I might be in more caca if I just take one shovel load. Some psychic healing in past and table shaking that was left unfinished. One demon removed left shoulder, another is jumped on. Yeah, so that doesn't happen with the IRT. So maybe I can address that, right?
We'll start with her first then.
Yeah.
Okay. I did a live by myself right before this video and just like 10 minutes, just saying, hey, I want to get to know you guys and what kind of videos you want to see. And she was one of the first ones right on and commenting. And then she followed up on our channel now on this chat. But
nice.
I want to get to know the people more and appreciate their support.
Yeah, she wants to hold a physical book. So you can tell her, or I can tell her that you can still look for circulating used copies of my book. They do appear from time to time. And
she doesn't want the PDF. Is that what she said?
Yeah, she doesn't want a PDF. No, she wants to hold it, right?
I see it below. Okay.
Yeah. So, we can address that, say that, there are circulating copies. And if she sends me her email, I can look for her and send her a link if I find one, and if she doesn't feel like doing that, because it sounds like she's older and not really used to searching the web or not really techie.
Right.
Yeah.
And Diane Young, I think I will stick with Jesus.
Yeah.
Should we comment on that or no?
I don't know. I think I'd let that one go.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that are already, ingrained into that space. And so again, it's not, not about changing their mind or expanding their view because they've got it here, they're in their Jesus box, right?
Right. And there is no alternative when you're in that space.
Right. I mean, I can talk to that with clients, one-on-one because I come from a fundamentalist uprising. I uprised from the uprising.
Right. Right. So you have that background. I want people to know that we're not saying we're anti-Jesus.
No,
it's about being anti-Jesus. It's like we're all children of God, right?
That's right. And also what we could say to that comment with Diane Young is that it allows everybody their own beliefs. So it doesn't come with any dogma or any set of beliefs. It allows you to be with what you already have and know and trust and work with that, because it's a free will zone. And so whatever you believe, Jesus, Buddha, whatever your spiritual tradition is, your beliefs are, you apply to that, you invite that.
Yeah. So would you mind if we do a talk on that?
Yeah, sure.
Just because I want people to know that we're not anti-Jesus.
Yeah. Well, you're not anti-Jesus, and neither am I, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited. Okay, I'm gonna go live now.
Okay.
I don't know if it's working. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to the River's Edge. I'm so excited to have Maureen Edwardson back on, the creator of Inner Resonance Technology. Today we're going to be talking about how to manifest. Everyone can use this skill. I'm excited to talk about it, and Maureen is the person to give us the details on it. So thank you again for being here.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's so much fun. And I love your audience. They're so interesting. And I love the questions, and I love the conversation that gets created.
Yeah, and thank you guys for those of you who signed up with Maureen from our last visit. And I wanted to first address Mary, and because you guys had some comments here, and Mary was asking about the cost and taking Maureen, working with Maureen. So Maureen, has it read your comments and she wanted to comment on that, Mary?
Yes, yes, yes. I just lost the chat here on my phone. Sorry to be distracted a little bit. I'll go into that in a moment again, hopefully. In the meantime, oh, here, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll figure that out later. So thank you for your patience with me, as I am so techie.
We all
Yeah.
have our moments.
There we go. It's live. And so Mary, yes, thank you so much for your comments about both having the live book and also like holding it in your hand. I totally am with you on that one. And also the money, and also the way IRT works. There are threefold answers in your comments. First of all, there's no strings attached. It's a full-on gift. I know that's most unusual in this field, in our world today, where everybody's doing a come on because they want more of your money. It's not a money grab. It's truly a service. And I love meeting people. I love sharing and empowering people with even one IRT session. Then you get empowered with a touch and a breath that has the chemistry of wholeness, that activates you, that you activate on a daily basis to evolve yourself with, to clear yourself with, connect, more of yourself to yourself, free yourself up. Come into that place of creation and inspiration that is the place where we all manifest from. And neutralizing all the static and the interference patterns and the old beliefs that get in our way of being and having and enjoying what are the good things of life. And so yes, it's totally no strings attached. And what I love about IRT is that it doesn't leave you hanging with anything unresolved, and it doesn't work with information in your conscious level. It actually works fully in the unconscious, super conscious, in fact, quantum self, where everything's known and all the resolutions already exist. So we clear all the static, all the old fears that allow you to be in an integrated place already, a place of freedom, place of alignment with you and your greater self, and whatever you believe is there for you. We all have different beliefs. And what I love, about this work, that it doesn't come with any dogma, any particular beliefs, spiritual or religious or otherwise, because we all have our own beliefs. We all have our own way of working, with spirit and enjoying that spiritual connection. So it doesn't matter, that's what I love about this work. It just comes with no beliefs, no anything, any particular way. It's open to your way and your beliefs, and that's what gets worked with. So one more, I'd like to say a little bit more on that in just a moment. But in the meantime, I also want to address what were the other two things with Mary. There were the dollars. There was the book, the real book in your hand. I'm totally with you on that. There are used copies that still circulate from that old publishing contract, and they're still out there. And sometimes they're available and then they get snapped up pretty fast. Otherwise, they're ridiculous. I don't know why Amazon or whoever does this 500, like $800 for a copy of my, isn't that crazy? I know, because then it becomes this rare, book that's unavailable, so that people take advantage of that. Don't do that. But there are books, physical books, and one even ended up in my friend's clinic in Australia. He wanted a real book for people that came into his clinic to actually pick up and read and feel, the tangible stuff. And the book itself has a frequency of it's been tested over and over, and I was just kind of blown away and real humble and embarrassed to say this, but it resonates at 999 out of 1,000 frequency on David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. Many people have tried that. I thought, oh yeah, maybe it was a good day, but it's the truth. And so it has a very high frequency, which heals in and of itself, having the physical book. So I'm with you, Mary, on that one for sure. But so yeah, but my friend Ashoka at the the Quantum Uplift Clinic in Byron Bay, he found a copy like that online, and it was even autographed by me. Like, how did that make its way, from Vancouver, Canada to Byron Bay, Australia, with my signature in it? It's just phenomenal to me how the world is connected these days. So yeah, so I would have a look at that. And Mary, if you want to send me an email, Maureen Edwardson 3 at gmail.com, or just contact me off my website again, then I can look around for you and give you a heads up as to where to order it. I'm happy to do that.
All right, Mary, you got to email Maureen and she'll help you out on getting a book. Okay, you guys, let's get into manifesting. We all want to manifest our dreams. So let's start with, how do you manifest?
So how do you manifest?
I want to manifest money coming into my hand.
Yes, exactly. Me too. And actually, I'm doing it, so it actually is happening. And just to give you a couple of examples, I was working with another woman. She was open. She didn't quite believe in this work, but she was open and she was showing up. And after the second session, she said, well, nothing has changed. Everything's the same old, and the first session, she told me her deep desire to own her own home, because all her peers were at that stage where they were all living life, having their own house, and she was the exception in her world. And so she felt, yeah, she really, really desired a house of her own, and also the kind of house she wanted. She didn't know that even existed in her area. Turns out she'd grown up in the Vancouver area, where we have townhouses here, and just many other places, but where she lives, she'd never known of any. So yeah, so we continued in our conversations. So we were checking in before her second or third session, whatever it was. And she, oh, by the way, I did, and money was an issue for her, right? And so she, oh, by the way, I did put an offer on a house, and guess what? I found a townhouse, and I didn't even know they existed here. And she said, I don't know where the money came from. She said, and her term was, it just dropped in effortlessly. She just, isn't that interesting? I don't know where that money came from, and so she was bemused, but all of a sudden she had this download of money enough to put a down payment on a house, a townhouse, which she didn't even know existed. So that is one example of manifesting. And, not necessarily even from a conscious, like, I'm going to do this kind of thing and make it happen, but from a clearing of what's in the way of it. What is that quote? Is it Rumi? It could be Rumi. Rumi has wonderful quotes, but let's just say whoever it is, let's call him Rumi, said, in order to experience love and feel love, our only job is to remove the barriers to love within us. And so it's the same with manifesting, and not just abundance, but everything and anything that we want to create the life of our dreams, and feel really happy and fulfilled in every way, every aspect of who we are, to feel really, really good about life. And so that means something different to each person. So Esther Hicks and the group of energies called Abraham talk about resonant alignment. I don't know if there are anybody's on the call that knows the work of Esther Hicks and Abraham, because it's all about frequency. It's all about alignment. And it is said that, even with all that other stuff in your way, even with that, unresolved issues of lack or of undeservingness, all these deep programs that most of us carry, that even with all that unresolved, they say, if you hold the thought of having whatever it is you are desiring, as though you already have it with gratitude and thanks, then it's impossible for it not to find you. But I think that is, let's call it 2 minutes. It's a relatively brief, but when you think about 2 minutes and holding a single focus and a feeling for 2 minutes straight, especially one that's you're not used to really believing, then yeah, the more often that you can do that, the faster it will come into your field and manifest.
But I've heard that if you do it too much, then it's like you're telling the universe you don't believe it'll happen. You're putting too much focus on it.
That's right. And it depends on your language and how you phrase it up. Just like affirmations are important to have in the first person present, positive. And so affirmations can be tricky because, if you say, I don't want to be a smoker, you're, first of all, to be is future language. Second of all, you're focused on do not want, and subconscious does not recognize the negative. So it takes out the do not, want, and it puts in, I want, to be a smoker. So you're confirming, and again, for what you don't have is the focus, right? You're coming from a place of lack. I want it so badly. I want it so badly, right? And so that is a very intense expression and feeling of not having. So you're absolutely right on that, Kelly.
But why do so many people, knowing this, they know they have to be in alignment, they know they have to be, to use Esther Hicks terms, in the vortex to get in alignment to manifest what you want. But then so many people still, they don't manifest what they want. They're still living paycheck to paycheck, or just not getting whatever they want in life, whatever that is. So why is it so hard to do that? Why are people not getting what they want? I know it's because they just don't believe it's true. And if that is the case, then how do they change that?
Well, they probably believe it's true, like on a conscious level, but there's all these contrary voices, inside our subconscious. And that's all the old programs, all the old beliefs, all the old conditioning that we don't deserve it. That's a big one. Or who are you? That's arrogance, and if it's about money is evil, all the old beliefs we have. I know Harv Eker of Millionaire Mind, who's originally from Vancouver, actually, as well. However, Harv would say, okay, so what's your money blueprint? What are your beliefs in your family? My grandmother used to call, money dirty lucre, all these old expressions, and money is evil and money is the downfall, of good people. Well, greed doesn't come with money. Money is neutral. And so it's the meaning we give it, but often we don't think we believe that. We've taken it in, with our mother's milk as program. And we haven't realized that we are then in an environment growing up that enforces that and reinforces that. And then we don't realize, it's so very deeply programmed and embedded. However, the good news is that IRT allows all of that most deeply embedded old programs that we don't even know are there, never mind have access to, the freedom to be neutralized and cleared in our field at the superconscious level, which is beyond the conscious and the subconscious. So remember, the conscious mind processes at 40 bits per second, the subconscious at 40 million bits per second, which is significant, where a lot of reprogramming, takes place, and that does work through hypnotherapy and other programs working in the subconscious. And other programs, require you to bring up a certain feeling and a certain belief to the surface, even if it's just a snapshot of an old feeling, or a feeling of I can't do it, or like, oh my God, I'm not good enough, or whatever it might be. And then so you're working with all these individual beliefs. What if we could address all beliefs, all old programming, all old misperceptions, if you will, everything that's no longer relevant to the truth of who we are at our most authentic self, which is deserving, which is abundant automatically and effortlessly when we're in the vortex, when we're in that place of alignment without all that interference and saying, no, you're not, no, you're not. We're not hearing it consciously, but it's happening. No, you're not, no, you're not. So there's all that resistance to being more and having more. And then, speaking of more, because then that's arrogant, right? And then, when people are misaligned, and they get great wealth, they may use it inappropriately, or they may have manipulative ways of getting money from people, and just want to have that little come on. And that's why, honestly, coming back, I just do a free session for people, not just a half-hour discovery like it says on my website. I just do a whole free session, because as I'm able, as I have the time and I make the time, we create time. Time can expand and contract. So so far I've been really blessed and grateful that anyone and everyone that shows up, I make the time for, and we just do it. And it's no strings attached, because we all have this birthright. It's my service, it's my joy to know that even one session is empowering someone with an ongoing tool that they can use at the level that they're able. And that brings me, great fulfillment.
So the ones that do know that they have the subconscious and it's programmed a certain way to lack, so they have a belief system that it's impossible to get what they want, or it's life is about struggle, or whatever their belief system is, they know that, but they haven't been able to change that. And there's people that don't use IRP, or maybe they use an IRP, they just don't know I don't know, the people that are easy manifestors, like things just come easier to them. And some people, because everyone takes a different time, right? Is there a different schedule? People just, maybe you have more life lessons to learn, so things aren't coming as quickly as you'd like them to.
That's right. And so, for example, somebody I know that I'm close to, that I will not name, really, I was helping her out a lot. And just because it was joyful for me, and because I was in a totally abundant state. And this person was a single mom with a little toddler, with a little baby actually, and it just gave me great joy, to make life easier for this person. And then I finally realized one day that this person was loving the struggle of overcoming, and she just really is a great manifester of her own, in her own right, in her own way. And the fact that I was actually providing stuff was kind of getting in the way of her manifesting in her own way. We can overhelp, right? And so, so it was a really awesome awareness for me to have, and then step back and then wait, to be asked without maybe overwhelming people for, what they're grateful for, but then they're a little bit bemused, and, their life is a little flat because they run on that a bit of an adrenaline, hey, we need something, we need to make it happen now. And they do. And so everybody has their own way of manifesting and their own way of creating comfort and comfort levels of what they're ready for in their life. And so anything that I felt would be wonderful, and I would ask, and hey, let's do this. And the answer, yeah, why wouldn't a person say yes? And on an underlying level was this need to empower their own selves to figure it out. So again, there's another level of manifesting where we want to open up and be fully receptive to different ways that, what we want and need, what improves our lives can drop in. So saying yes, some people used to offer me more for my sessions, and it was no, you don't have to pay me more. And that's how actually my fees got to be where they are. Aside from the fact that when you create a new technique, it's your responsibility, I was told, to value that in the marketplace that already exists, so that psychologically people can put it in a certain place. And unfortunately, that's just the way, things work. I wish it wasn't. However, so I put the value, but then I adjust for where people are at. And, hey, you can't afford this. What can you afford? Hey, thank you. That's wonderful. I know that's a lot of money in your world. I feel blessed. And as I'm able, I work with everybody. Money is not a barrier. So I like that about myself, and I always have enough and more than enough. So, it works in lots of ways, when we get back into our heart space for whatever it is we're manifesting and align our energies with what we love and free ourselves out from the doubt and hold that energy of what we're choosing. And it's about alignment, right? It's about alignment.
And your spirit knows not to, like, if I'm saying I want something that's going to be overwhelming to me, spirit's going to be like in small doses, getting whatever I want instead of dump everything. I think I want all this, but then I really don't. I want, because I'd be on overwhelm, right? So spirit knows what to give you and what not to give you. But still, there's still so many people don't manifest, and they know all of this stuff, but just clearing those old beliefs has been very challenging.
Absolutely. And that's at the subconscious level that we don't have by its very nature direct access to.
Right. And it's like I have done so many meditations and the what's it called, the binaural beats and the reprogramming, and I've done all of that, and I've struggled in manifesting for sure.
Mhm. And so when I work with people on that subject, well, we work on all subjects because it's a one-stop shopping. And, and if that's a particular, issue that wants to be resolved and opened up in a new way, it's about clearing what's in the way. And then I invite people into an experience in that clear space where they can feel it differently and resonate and vibrate with that other frequency of already having, and then match that with what we already have. We are so blessed, in our world here, in North America. Basically, I'm not saying everybody is equally blessed, but most people, that have a roof over their head, enough food for the day, money for the rent, whatever, or eventually you get to that point by the end of the month. You don't have it now, but I invite people in this moment. Do you have enough? So it's not so much about creating, super abundance. It's about enoughness. And as you focus on enough and gratitude for what is enough in this very moment, you can just relax your fears, because in every moment we're given what we require. When we get out of our own way, when the most we can relax and let go, which is so counterintuitive, because when you're right up against something, you just feel you got to make something happen. And don't get me wrong, I have a history of very many PhDs in survival as a single mother, and doing this work, which is still foreign to a lot of people, still intangible, and it's a different paradigm, still cutting edge after 30 years. And so doing this as my sole income for, about 25, 27 years now. And so don't believe that there haven't been challenges, and being a single mom with 2 teenage daughters through that time. Yeah. And so I've learned that I'm always taken care of, that I always, at the end of the day, have come through. And that brings us to that point of that word pronoia that has been buzzing around in my head again lately. It's the opposite of paranoia. Everybody knows that word, it doesn't matter who you are, paranoia. But pronoia, the meaning of that is that all of the universe, all of life is conspiring in your favor, not just supporting you, but conspiring in your favor to support you and to encourage you and to hold you and to bring to you everything that you could possibly desire. And so, to get the feeling of that, and even just the allowing of that, even if you don't believe it, because the tagline with IRT is beyond belief, creating new reality. So you don't have to believe it. You just have to be open to the possibility. And I love that, because it just opens that window or the door, just that little crack.
Does that change your subconscious beliefs then when you're working?
You do automatically when you do IRT, because it allows the subconscious knows what subconscious beliefs are not serving you and what are misaligned, and can go into dissolving. And because everything comes from our field, our mind is a field all around us. It's not in our body or in our brain. That's a signal receiver. And so the body is a 100% responder to what's in our field. So we change what's in our field, and then automatically, that's the law of attraction. when we get out of our own way, get out of the static, get out of the interference patterns, the old beliefs, the old limiting thought patterns, and old programs, then it's automatic, right? It's who we are.
Some people say like you have to, it really helps to write down on pen and paper, write down what you want to manifest, and that makes it more real. And also you have to take action the first couple steps to get it going. What are your beliefs on that?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, that's because when you're writing something down, you're putting it into manifestation in that ink and paper.
Real.
That's the next level of being real, right?
Okay.
And then you can look at it and it can reflect back to you. And then you can also invite people to notice, okay, so do you really feel that? Do you really believe that? And you can sleep with that paper under your pillow, in positive terms of affirmations. And that can be helpful, right? Because that's information. Because all this, all of our reality, all of our information in our field that's, our body is acting out is in our field. And so as that neutralizes, I keep saying, then we have an easier, more effortless experience of things just dropping in because there's no resistance to keep it out. And so it's all in patterns of energetic information in our field. Excuse me. And so if you put a book, it's called super learning, put a book under your pillow that you want to know, put an affirmation under your pillow, and you're sleeping with that frequency, and it's embedding, into your reality just as you sleep. So there are many different ways that you can do it. You can put a label on your water and imprint your water with what you're choosing, and then drink it, because water holds information, and then you're embodying that as well through the water.
So do you just set the intent? You set the intention for what you want to manifest. Like say we're going to do it right now. I want to manifest A, B, and C, and then I just let it go and I don't think about it ever again.
That was an old exercise we did, yeah, years ago. We were invited to write everything down and on a piece of paper, and then I invited to put it into a drawer somewhere or some safekeeping spot that you didn't look at, you didn't revisit again, and then a year later, open up that drawer, make a note for yourself on your calendar, whatever, because people forget they've done it, right? And
Yeah.
then everybody got together, a year later and opened up their drawers, and then, oh my God, like almost everything, if not everything on their list had been manifested. And
Yeah.
it blew everybody's mind, right? So yeah, that is very powerful. You can speed things up and do it more consciously in different ways. And IRT, inner resonance technology, Bruce Lipton loves the acronym, because he says, yeah, it's like the New York subway system, interurban rapid transit. You need faster ways of delivering, from one place to another, because we're in the middle of the sixth potential extinction on the planet. We're at crisis point. We need to have some fast solutions, and IRT represents one of those solutions that speed things up and allow us to get to the good stuff much faster with grace, without having to pull ourselves through the keyhole backwards screaming, and don't need to re-experience, relive, know anything, because everything's already known in the field, and it can go poof, 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 poof. Then you can be happy for no reason. And wow, that's weird.
Wow. So when people do the IRT, they were to get your book and do you tell them how to do it right in your book.
It's all right in my book, absolutely.
And they do it once. How many times should they do it? And when they do it, do they think about what they want to manifest at the same time, or how do they do that?
Yes or no. There's no right way, which is also I love and might drive some people crazy to hear that. But what I mean by that, what I mean by that.
Easy, so I kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we all do. We want it easy, and yet we want to work hard at it, and we know we've done it, right? So there's two camps on that, and maybe lots of in the spectrum in between. So, yeah, when you clear what you don't want, when that's where, when I'm doing a session with somebody, especially a first session, we start with all the stuff they know is not working for them, and things that they don't have, or things that they want and don't have, or whatever. And that we just allow the field to get taken care of by the super conscious. And it's a series of questions that are all designed for yes. And I think last week I took everybody through a brief protocol. Is that
We
right?
did. Yeah, you guys remember that? She went, I don't know if it says all the same people that were on it, but she went to the protocol and it's on the last interview with
Yes. Yeah, so you can go and visit, the previous YouTube of our last interview together a couple weeks ago or something like that. And then you can listen to that as many times as you want. And what it does is neutralize all the resistance to your greater good, realigns you to the truth of who you are, and then automatically everything, and then in that space, when you're sitting at the end in a clear space, then yes, by all means, name it, and feel it and desire it and feel it as though it's already there. And that's a fast track. Definitely. I tell people with IRT, it's going to happen anyway. It's when you're clear, everything is known what you do want and what is going to be useful to you. However, we're creating all the time. So do we have any questions? I was looking for
I
that
have
on
a
my.
special guest showing up right now.
Huh?
Look who's here. Someone wanted to come in and share his story.
Oh, hi, brother.
Hey guys, a mutual friend, Kamara. Hello, Kamara.
Hi, Maura. I need your technical advice to find the chat.
We can't hear you.
Oh, you're muted. Oh, great tech man that you are.
Now you should hear me.
Oh, hello. So you can't see the chat in YouTube? Did you open the YouTube video?
I did. I got the video on YouTube, but I can't
No.
see the chat. Oh, well.
Oh, the live chat should be coming up. Awesome.
Okay. It's all right.
Welcome, Kamara.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So what can you tell us about manifestation?
He doesn't
Oh
know.
my goodness. Well, I manifested you as a friend, Maureen. Kelly.
I
That's
manifested you too.
Yeah, it's an interesting story because I really needed help. This must have been about 10 or 11 years ago, I think. I needed a ride and I was going on blind faith that I went to this island where I had come from and I left a very valuable piece of jewelry for me, and it was a pendulum. I left it on this place called Bowen Island, and I thought, I'm just going to truck it over there. I'm going to walk because my car was on the mainland. So I got onto the ferry, retrieved what I needed from this retreat center. And I thought, I don't know how I'm going to get back because the last ferry is leaving soon. And I walked up this island.
There's no cars. I mean, there's no buses. There's no taxis.
Nothing. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get to that ferry. I'm going to have to run down. I'm going to miss it. And I need to be on the mainland like now, or they're going to tow my car away. And then I think Maureen heard me. She was walking by. She goes, I'll give you a ride. And I'm like, wow.
What?
Yeah, because I just happened to be there and, going across, that night, I was facilitating something at a retreat and Kumar knew the group and he had connected and, was saying hello because that serendipitously, forgetting that piece of jewelry, he was on his own personal retreat at that Rivendell Retreat Center. And so, the very nature of him forgetting was perfect because then he had to come back. And then I was actually going to be on that last ferry myself. So that's where it was just like, hey, I happen to be here going that way. Sure. Why? Yeah, let's do it. And then, of course, we had that chance to connect and become very, very great heart and soul, brother and sister.
I love that.
She happens to be there always at the most opportune time, even when I think, well, it's kind of inopportune right now because I'm so busy. But once I let go of that judgment, boom, here she comes. I'm like, oh, she's here again. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. It's kind of like when I first got a hold of the cards. They were gray in color, like my shirt, which Maureen has. And she goes, oh, you know what? I have my show on Awake TV Network with a doctor and he can't make it. Can you make it? And I'm like, well, I guess so. I'm going to have to rush to a camera and all that. And then I was a guest on her show and featuring these cards that just came in, my very first shipment that came into production. And then she goes, can you talk about it? I said, well, I'm not too sure. I know a few things about it, but now I know way more things about it than when I did last, or what, not last, in the beginning. And she seems to be this kind of morphic energy that just needs to be where needs to be at a given moment.
Yeah.
So I
I-
find that to be part of that manifestation process. I believe this is about manifestation, yes?
Yeah, sometimes I think I'm like a fractal of Forrest Gump or something. I just happen to be there, at really interesting times, right? And I'm a catalyst for change. And
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? The catalyzation of change for the first time in, I believe, human history is now welcome. But what
yeah,
did it take for that to happen? Great compression. Yeah.
yeah,
Out of Great Depression comes and emerges great expansion.
absolutely.
And this is part of, I believe, Maureen's work, that she gets right into she doesn't have to get into the nitty gritty with her clients that I've noticed, or friends I've passed on to her. I had to get rid of my own judgment. My friends or business contacts had to get rid of their own judgment. And then I said, now we're ready to talk to Maureen. And then I don't know how she does it, but she takes them through this process that she takes me sometimes through, and always has this 100% efficacy.
Yes, always.
It's remarkable. And the manifestation power, it's not a woo-woo thing that I find.
Science.
It's
Yeah,
not
it's
what?
science.
It's not a woo-woo thing. It's not a weird, airy, fairy thing. From my observation, is because I also I'm friends with a number of scientists and doctors. So yeah, sure, I can talk about doctor terms and terminology, but what does it actually mean in the realm of possibilities and manifestation? Well, it's language and linguistics,
Right,
right?
right.
There's that NLP. I think your module, it seems to stand on its own. It might have a level of NLP, but it has other layers that
Yeah, I want to know
science can't
your
really
process,
grasp quite yet.
Kamara. Like, tell me a time and what you've manifested, and how I know you did with Maureen. That was pretty awesome. Is there any process you follow? Like, say right now, I want to manifest something, this car that I want to buy. What would be the process you go through to manifest that?
Going into my physical heart. I'm a teacher in heart imagery as well, that stemmed off of Junvalo Melchizedek's work. He's one of my sifus. And he reminds me, quite often when we talk, we usually go into the talk of water, as well as consciousness, as well as going into the physical heart. That is the greatest machine ever designed by Creator, is our heart.
Yes.
So for me to be able to manifest something that I really want, it has to have good purpose. It can't hurt me first, and it can't hurt anybody else. And it's the feeling of as if it's already happened, what I want to envision. If it's in alignment and it doesn't harm anything or anyone or any being, it seems to happen.
It just comes together, and that's assuming you don't have any beliefs blocking it in your subconscious.
Exactly. It's like, how am I writing that image? If I'm writing an image, I'm like, okay, here's a Duracell battery, but I'm going to have my hand around it. There is no battery. Well, there is no battery. There is a battery, right? I need a battery for my wireless mic. That's why it wasn't on. So I had to turn it on. So now you can hear me.
That's right. We have to switch
So-
it on. We have to uncover it.
Yeah, discover. So
Yes, discover.
discovering truth, that I find a very, very profound manifestation. I would say it could even be a technique.
Yes.
Right?
Have you-
Maureen takes them there, and I know that you have it too, Kelly, because I don't even know how to explain it. It's the I feel it's the resonance, and it's in your title, Maureen.
Inner resonance.
Inner resonance technology.
Have you, Kamara, have you run into not being able to manifest what you want because of subconscious beliefs?
Yep. And quite often when I get extremely stuck, I call up Maureen. I'm like, can you help me through this thing? And she doesn't make what I feel wrong. She helps facilitate me to reach the inner power of feeling as if it's already there.
Right. Yeah, you're
Even
so
though
good.
our left mind is saying, well, it's not there. Well, if our left mind is the loudest, well, that's what's going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Well, what's really interesting too, Kamara, is seeing as how you're here.
Yeah.
Talking about the card, you can maybe talk about that a little bit, because I feel also, there's the inner and the outer, and when we bring both together in a harmonic resonance, then amplification happens.
Correct.
And so, I see this card, it was originally created. See, Kelly's got one too.
I can't see mine.
Yeah, originally created, it's about, just this size, right? To bring it into
Yeah.
perspective.
Credit card size.
Like a credit card size.
Yeah.
And it was originally brought in as an EMF protection device, especially against 5G.
Yes.
Well, how it does that, as it turns out, is that it's a bioharmonizer. So it's a field harmonizer. And that's when you're in resonance with your higher self, free of the static that interferes with you. You are harmonized with your greater self, and then can automatically, or through intention or choice. I like to call it choice. Intention is a future word in my reality now. So I am choosing, this now. And those are more powerful words. And so when you also have, a bioharmonizer in your field, and then anything that you're choosing, especially empowered by the IRT frequency of your alignment with your greatest self, then wow, exponential things happen. So, that's where there's a match between the bioharmonizer card, the maybe what are you calling it these days?
I call it the
Card?
Omni card.
Omni
Uh,
card,
yeah.
right? It's good for
Because it
everything,
needed a
right?
name. It was like a baby that got birthed without a name. It
Yeah.
wanted a name. By the time Drenvello was on my show, episode 10, season 1.
Awake TV Network.live.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you can give a little background. I didn't tell
Yeah.
where you're from. And
The background of that is that it got birthed 12 months ago. It turned into a teenager quickly by the time Drenvello was on the show, because he pulled it out of his pocket. It was a gift that I gave him. I didn't expect anything. And he started to talk about it. He said, oh, these are like the DOS discs. And I'm like, what are those? He said, well, they were the discs that he used to help promote. And they were resonance technologies type of solid state devices like this, in the shape of a puck that size and about that thick. 8 of them in a bag for, I believe it was 4,000 Canadian dollars for a set. And he said, this does exactly the same thing for way a fraction of the price. And basically, this resonance harmonic tool it's got a toroidal pattern. So there's actually an arrow side, which is considered yang right there, and it's an activator. It actually activates water in the body and outside the card. It has a toroidal field outside that actually stems 6 to 10 feet radius, so 12 to 20 feet in diameter, toroidally. That's why we called it Omni. It's all around. And Maureen is correct, because actually one of the tests that I did, a blind test to a very sensitive twin here in Alberta, I gave him one or he had one gifted to him as a gift. And he goes, what is this? And he said, well, Kumara could tell you. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you anything. I heard you're sensitive. So, and he's like, and then he was holding it like this. I'm like, he's like, this is really interesting. What? He goes, I'm feeling something. And then he started to demonstrate the activator side. He started doing this. So he was actually diagramming 3-dimensionally,
yeah,
drawing in the air the toroidal field. And then I said, okay, now flip it to the yin side. He goes, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, now what? He goes like this. I'm like, oh my goodness, you cut toroidal field. So that was a live demo. I wish I had, taken a, video of it. But that was one of the most exciting things that I've discovered. When I left early that night, one of our friends said, something interesting happened, Kumar, you need to know about this. And I'm like, what? He said, well, I put it on the grass because he was connecting with this thing. And he kept feeling it almost 20 feet away radius from the card on the ground. I'm like, so it expanded. He goes, yep. So your consciousness, as well as tools like this, will actually create an aggregate field,
Mhm.
kind of a similar way that smart meters work on an aggregate network. So
That's
when we operate us as a people, as one people, like mycelium network or fascia,
Mhm.
scientifically speaking, that is a highway of information channels. That's what happens.
Right.
So
And we're
I'm
breathing that in all the time.
yeah,
We are toroidal, in
yeah.
our hearts. Our hearts are toroidal fields.
Mother Earth is. It's got a North Pole, it's got a South Pole. It's got the positive and negative, right? That's why we have that protective shield around our planet. And it's expressed to actually the ionosphere and the magnetosphere is a protective layer from that toroidal field that protects cosmic waves from hitting us. Now, because we've introduced 5G, as well as smart meters, cell phones, cell towers,
Yeah.
Bluetooth, underneath these layers, it's now bouncing all over in our fields. That's why the inventor of this reached out to me and said, well, you go on TV a lot. I'm like, no, I don't. At the time, I didn't. It was just Maureen's. And these cards made it in a way that pulled me out and more in front of the camera talking to people. At first, it was one of the most frightening things, but Maureen helped me with that. I'm like, Maureen, you need to get over some fears. Like, I get butterflies. I don't want to talk to people. I'm not comfortable. She said, well, you're just the I am. I'm like, oh, it's that easy? She said, yep.
and you got comfortable very
Manifestation.
quickly. So describe again how this helps manifest in layman's terms so people
In
can
layman's
understand.
terms, it helps manifest because our connective tissue inside, meaning the brain, which is science is now proving that the brain does not stay inside the skull, it actually extends outward. That's part of our auric field. Now, this will help more coherence into the body by creating, when this vibrates, it's like a tuning fork. If something disharmonic hits it, it'll only vibrate to the frequency of bioharmonic energy for the body. Well, what does that mean? It creates structure in the water cells, H2O
Yes.
cells in our body,
Yes.
more into a crystalline state, which is hexagonal, kind of like the shape of the bee cells, the bumblebees,
Yeah.
the hexagons. These are actually imprinted in nature. So it's imprinted in this card. It's not only on the surface, but there's also plates inside that are made of bismuth. It's a crystalline type of a metal, and it's been proprietarily blended with other non-toxic metals. So they're non-toxic. That's why we can actually put this in fish tanks, and they've tested this.
I have
Yeah.
a question for you. Nick has a question. Nick
Yes.
wants to know, can you get it in the UK? And number
Yeah.
2, I have an energy blockage all on my left side of my body. Would this help?
It would absolutely definitely help because what this does, it not only helps the left and right brain hemispheres to come into unison, but also when that happens, when we have cosmic energy kind of not aligned, this will actually help align it, and all of our chakras will start to spin in the proper direction. Sometimes they're reversed, sometimes they're still.
Yes, and if I may add something in,
Yeah.
that having this card on you allows all that integration and the harmonization. It's a bioharmonizer and healer. However, like anything external, you need to have it on you to keep that effect. So how IRT works together with, Kumara's device is that it clears your whole field so that whatever that energy in your field is resisting and using up energy for, becomes freed up, so that then you have this as an amplification of the condition that the card creates, and the card creates the amplification of your field of whatever you're choosing then to manifest next and be free of. So the card is a localized form of mediating your field. IRT clears your field from all core causal levels, from all times, all places, give you ultimate freedom from anything outside yourself. But it's a tuning fork that activates the part of you that already knows how to do this.
That's right.
Science, and the inner technologies we have is science. So it's just about clearing the way with IRT to give you a full scale cleansing, if you will, and realignment with your greater self, so that in all areas of your life, not just in your, in your electromagnetic field, in your bioharmonizer field, and in your body, however, you have, greater application for anything that you choose and desire. So it's a wonderful combination that works together.
That's right. And something I really have to clarify too when it comes to manifestation and how this all connects together is, think of it this way. When we say field, people can't really quite see it or feel it. So the best analogy I can come up with is, imagine being in a wetsuit and you dive into the ocean. I have a blocker. Actually, eventually it's going to seep in. Now, radiation works faster than that. I can block this side of my cell phone, and there's rays coming in this way. But if I'm holding it here and this is blocked, well, it's going to come around this way, and the top, the bottom, like radiation is omnidirectional. There are certain wave patterns like longitudinal scalar waves, LSW, and the stickers that you can find in stores that claim to be blockers, I would challenge that use of that word. I would call it possibly a harmonizer, just like that. Yes, Kelly. Those are programmed with several different layers, depending on the company, sometimes 10, sometimes 200, possibly even up to 1,000 or a few thousand layers of information that has been preset and programmed to deal with particular waveforms. With the card, I can give this to anyone who knows nothing about it and all of a sudden says, why am I sleeping more? Why is I'm dreaming now? Could this be it? And I'm like, maybe.
By the way,
so that's the difference.
Last night was the best night of sleep I've had in months. I've been sleeping under my pillow every night, and it took a little while. I mean, how long have I had this? Maybe a week now.
A week.
But I've been building up, like getting better rates. But I actually slept, I think, straight 6 hours last night. It was
awesome.
Really?
That's why you're glowing. I was wondering.
Yeah, and Kelly has been doing a lot of IRT as well. So clearing
That's awesome.
everything that interferes with her ability to have a deep, restful, refreshing sleep. And so it all works together. People are asking how much the card is, Mary, sleeping with books under your pillow. I was just talking to a client in the UK about that today, and sleeping, having a paper. Oh, maybe you and I talked about that too at the beginning, Kelly.
Yes.
Paper with the words on it and sleeping with that under your pillow. But so we have also many beliefs that we're told it's our own fault, but and so Kelly, you are a source of these cards now through Kamara.
I am. I'm starting to sell these cards on my own. Should we show them the design?
Yeah, can I show them? For me. If you have me on as a host, I'll be able to share.
Yeah, okay. That's a good idea.
I actually prepared it.
I'm so excited.
And I have a surprise for you afterwards. I don't want to say it on here yet, but I have a surprise for you.
I love surprises.
Awesome. And in the meantime,
this thing, when we're creating an aggregate of mind, souls, and hearts, the manifestation powers, I find, become magnified.
Yes.
And things move even faster. Like the things that I'm getting from the manufacturer, I'm like, is that even possible? Like, can you confirm this? Right? And Kelly had a lot to do with the creation of these amazing cards. I'm going to share with you right now.
They'll recognize it. They know my logo.
Yeah. Let me see if I can
cards.
expand it first before I show it. So it's nice and big on the screen.
The cards are $111 US, by the way. And
that's cool. That's reasonable.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's so sharp. It's the first classy black card.
First classy.
Do you know it's very interesting, Kamar? Because when I saw that
printed this morning, only one, and there's a whole bunch being printed more because I wanted Kelly's, approval.
Yeah.
Got it.
Thank you, Kamar, because the first time when I saw it earlier today, that was my exact same word. Oh, that's sharp, Kelly. And not everybody uses that expression anymore, right? But that's really sharp.
It is.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
it's triple blade sharp.
Yeah.
And you're helping me build a website. Like this is manifestation perfectly. Somehow
Yeah.
James Sinclair reached out to me on Facebook and he's like, oh,
Oh.
we should work together somehow. And we did
Wow.
a video on his movie, What If, or not
Oh my goodness.
movie. But we did what's it called? A group of us did an interview on his movie. And that's how I met Maureen and other people. And then Maureen, weeks later, introduced me to Kamara, and who then asked me if I wanted to help sell this Omni card. And I was like, yeah, that would be awesome. I can be an affiliate for them. And
Yeah.
so
No,
it's somehow it all
we're
came
so
together.
happy that you're in alignment with our vision to help many people, because it's not just about a product. It's about this movement of cohesion and harmony amongst everything. You know, humans, the one human family,
Absolutely.
as well as flora and fauna, which these cards actually affect too. Plants.
Absolutely.
I upgraded a whole bunch of stuff. There's different ways that you can actually use a card too. So if you have a glass of water that, let's say this, well, literally this came out of a receptacle that the water hadn't been moving. So I activate it with the activator side. So I make it ring so it resonates with the water, and then I use the yang side facing the water to activate it. If it's gone through municipal water and it's gone through 90-degree turns, water doesn't like it. It needs to get calmed down. It almost gets what Masaru Emoto used to call it, the water gets angry when it goes through 90-degree turns. In that case, I face the flower side to calm it down. And then I actually like to spin it. If I don't have a spinner or if I don't have a stir stick, I just kind of move it in a swirly pattern.
Yeah, a friend of mine blends this water.
Yes. Yeah.
But you know, the common factor, you think it's me, but you know, the catalyst really and the connector is IRT, because it is magical in its own way, because that's what clears the field and connects you automatically to your next level of greater good. And so this is, you know, continuum, and the three of us are an example of that, right? Because I helped James A. Sinclair a lot along the way of creating the movie, and then you know, and then he kindly mentioned my work in an interview that Kelly did with him, which you can also look at sometime. And I really encourage you to also watch the Grand Self movie, because it gives you additional clues of how to manifest and be, you know, empowered in your life and be your grandest self. So it all works together. And so I just love that magical effect of interconnectedness and interdependence that we all have. And we all have a piece for each other. And when we clear our fields, then it just happens, you know, automatically, like the law of attraction. It just falls in, right? It happens in its own rhythm and its own time.
And I have a sales background, and my whole sales success is based on networking and getting to know the right people who then introduce me to the right people. And that in itself, you don't have to feel like you're manifesting everything on your own. If you bring in people in your life who can then help you and facilitate wherever you're going, what you're trying to manifest. And
it's a patterning too in nature, as well as the fractal nature, right?
Yeah.
You get one fractal and you get the next iteration. They work together. They're not separate. And that's the beauty that I'm finally starting to see in the world, where I would say social media has now morphed very quickly into a more independent type of almost broadcasting.
True.
Where we are the media instead of the media is just run by a few people. No, we're running. We run together.
I love it. They were asking when this is going to be available. When will I have these?
You're going to have them in your hands in, I would say, less than 8 business days.
Woo!
Because you saw that print and it was printed this morning, it means they're just going to go gangbusters and ship it out. And as soon as it gets shipped out, through the way that they do it, it's actually really fast, because I'm going to have them ship it direct to you. Oh no, some of them to you so that you can share it with your friends and family. We're going to have some at our ship station, and then we'll be shipping it out for you. Like my business partner and co-host on Awake TV Network, The Bridge, is actually he's helped create some infrastructure so that the flow of these items can actually be delivered as fast as possible directly.
Excellent. And they would be able to order from my website.
Absolutely.
Which will be up, which is kellyrivers.com.
Yeah. And in the meantime, get your amplifier and field clearing session for free without any strings attached by going to my website, maureenedwardson.com, and requesting, a complimentary session. And seriously, it's not a come on a marketing way. I like
she's right about that.
The experience. Yeah. It's just
and it's no strings. And she's right. There's no strings attached. The only thing attached is fascia.
So like for Mary couldn't afford to continue on with that. She can do the one session and not feel guilty about just doing it.
She was feeling bad if she didn't want to use my time, in vain.
Yeah.
If wanting to sign on for a package. So, but please don't anyone feel like that. It's just truly a gift from my heart.
Well,
and it's joy, because that's my service in the world. Because I know that just one session keeps on giving, not just for the individual person, but to all the greater field of everybody that's DNA and heart connected with each person. It works instantly and spontaneously for everyone in that quantum realm where there is no time. So the blessings are exponential.
Yeah, another aspect of manifestation too is having no fear. Like,
yes,
you can have a little bit of trepidation, but then it becomes a block. It starts to grow. This little, I'm not sure, turns into I don't know, turns into I don't want to deal with it, turns into I'm fearful of it.
Yeah, and
that's very compressive, right? And that becomes a block. It'll express in the body in different ways, like even metastasization, cancer, hypertension. There's so many things. So when we come to,
so important to clear clear the fear.
Another one is unconditionality.
Yes,
because she's unconditional, she's gifting this. It's like the way I gifted Kelly my time to create. I'm not a graphics person. I just thought, I feel this energy. I need to direct it. I'm like, how does this look? She's like, it looks great. And then I sent it over to the manufacturer. They're like, this is amazing. I'm like, I know. I just got goosebumps all over me this morning.
He just sent me the picture. Well, I showed it to you, Maureen.
Yeah.
I just
I know. I said, that's sharp.
He's shaking.
He's scratching.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was so excited. And it is true. It's all about, this is all manifestation. It's all good. How it's going to unfold, I don't know, but I love it. It feels so good, the energy.
And when we bounce back energy to each other, it's like, I'm so happy that your audience is engaged with you. And I'm so happy someone actually asked a question, because asking questions means there's something to it, right? Or I'm seeking and you're actually delivering.
And the answers are coming automatically when you ask the question.
Yeah.
Right, you're putting it out there.
Yeah. And I'm constantly in gratitude for Maureen, to Kelly. I'm even Kelly's audience who haven't even met yet. It's because of their support for her, it grows. And however it grows in whatever means, well, let's just do it. Right. And that's why I got into that unconditionality too. It's like, okay, well, I'm not a graphics person. I'll just go into the I am, just have fun with it.
You certainly seem like you are. You're like within a second, you knew what to do. I'm like, how does he know?
I don't know where it came from. I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool. I learned a new skill on the fly.
I gave you my logo vector files and you had it, you ran with it. I don't know how to do any of that.
I didn't either. And I thought, well, you know what? I have time now and I have some space. So let's play in that space. And that's another technique in manifesting, is play in the space that you can find on your own. That's why self-care is really big. Mm-hmm. And you don't always have to fill that time, but if you fill that time with joy, whether you're doing something or not, something usually happens.
Yes, because we're actually designed for joy. We're designed to feel good. And that's where, Wayne Dyer, I love always quoting him on that one, good is just God with an extra O. And all that we need to do for the power of intention and creation is to clean off the rust and the static on the line to source, and so this is what we're doing.
Hey, Dennis wants to know if he orders one, can he order one personalized?
Personalized that says Kelly Rivers on it.
I'm sure that's what you wanted, Dennis. Right?
The one of would probably cost them quite a bit
Well, you
because
know what, Dennis,
You're one
you never know. You never know
you
who
never
Dennis
know. You
is.
never know.
Happy
Thank
with
you,
my-
Maureen.
Know what Dennis is, he might have a business or a network that he would like to do a personal.
Yeah,
there you
how
go.
many do you want to buy, Dennis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you buy
So
enough
Dennis,
of it, you'll have your own brand, and then you'll have another facility to help your people, wherever they come from, whether they come from oil, whether. Here's something else really interesting. I bought a Honda generator last year, and the owner said, "Oh, what do you do, by the way?" So I talked about it. He goes, "Oh, I think my girlfriend needs something like that." I said, "You're such a cool guy. You can borrow one, or I'll just have one." I gifted a whole bunch of these. And then 3 days later, I checked on him. I said, "How are you doing? And your girlfriend?" He said, "I don't know what that is, but I talked to my family. We want to buy 50 of those." I'm like, "What?
Oh, wow.
Like 1.5?" He said, "No, 50." I'm like, "For what? Like with your own logo on it? Because I'll do that. That's enough." And he said, "No, no, I just want to give him away as gifts." Because he was someone who my past judgment would say, "Oh, he's a biker dude. He's not going to go in for this." But he totally did. And he was so thankful.
Oh, nice.
So I would like to ask Dennis Lindsay a question. I don't know whether you're a biker dude or not, but do you have a network that you have in mind to personalize, some cards for? That would be cool.
He's not answering.
Yeah, eventually he might answer.
Yeah,
Or
eventually
he's
get
thinking
back to
about
me and you guys can
Yeah,
let me
he's
know.
going
Yeah,
through some manifestation techniques right now.
yeah, put this to good use.
Yes.
So what is did you say, would 50 be, you think, the minimum quantity to make it worthwhile to customize it?
Yeah, between like 30 and 50, you can
Okay.
customize.
Yeah, well, Dennis, you can get back to us whenever.
Yeah.
And I'll
Yeah,
have-
and depending on his network, depending on because the manufacturers they're really busy now,
Oh,
which is a good thing. The my own customers, when they found out that what this does for them, that they come back and say, can I buy 5 more? Because you can actually create an aggregate inside your house to create an even bigger expanded field.
huge vortex, exactly. Well, Kamara and what's your name, Kelly? Dennis. Oh, my excitement, everything I know.
my name?
Dennis has just responded, and he says he was thinking it for his love tribe for
Ooh.
Salini, Salini. I wonder what Salini is now.
Salini's a lady I just interviewed with her a few days ago, and
Oh,
she has a group called the Love Tribe, and he's part of that.
oh,
Well,
fabulous. Well, this is fantastic. So,
exactly.
how does
And
that all
just
work?
to clarify, so everyone knows, this is not an MLM thing. This is just, hey, you know what? You're helping people. You're actually talking about things that really matter, and you have technologies that you're putting together. Here's another one, right? That's how it works.
Yeah. So Kamara, you and Kelly can talk about, contacting, Dennis and Salini and, working out that potential. That's exciting.
By the way, Tamara and I are going to do a video with Michael and telling all about the card, an official video, right? Describing it and all the features and benefits and what it's made of. So we'll do that sometime in the next week or so.
Sounds good.
A couple of weeks.
And bye.
It'll be a go-to, and I'll post that on the website as well. So whenever people want to look into the card, they'll have that video for the technical information on it.
Yeah, and in the meantime, as I invite, go to my contact page on my website, maureenedwardson.com, get your free session and get ready for the card. Woohoo! Expand your connections, expand your life. A couple of people too said, they've only talked to 3 or 4, 5 people in the last several months with COVID. Well, I have a new client, or just, I guess, coming to the end of his package of sessions. And from the beginning, all of a sudden, his connections have amplified. He belongs to so many different groups. He has lots of things going on. He started a new business of helping people. And so he has constant, connection with new people and other people all the time. So his world has actually expanded, where he was very, enclosed and shut down. So, COVID has physically distanced us. And at the same time, we're connecting rather than randomly out in, the public. We're connecting into our own love tribes and our own people that we resonate with, and can then support each other and just enjoy each other, and on different levels than ever before with this new state of apparent constriction. So, again, as you said before, it's that, it's that energy of the heart that, expands, contracts, contracts, expands, whatever. It works both ways, right? And that energy of that vortex.
And it feels like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That works in this case too. When you're ready, when you're clear and you're open-minded, then things just start unfolding. And
especially
and I add into
picture this. You have a very open-minded, open-hearted student, and an open-minded and open-hearted teacher.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I was talking over you, please forgive me. I was just all excited, and I say the opposite thing, when the students are ready, when the teacher is ready, the students appear. And when the students are ready, the teacher's got to show up, right? So all of a sudden, a lot of new people that are showing up for enjoying IRT are really curious and wanting to help others. And so there's a workshop now planned, for the beginning of April, for people to learn how to do this and help others. And then that's another source of abundance for them as well, right? And manifestation, because as you help others, you also are supported in the world. So it's a back and forth, win-win-win.
Yeah.
Win-win.
And just because people don't see it in their lives, here's an example. Even your very viewers who are on now, as well as the ones who will come on later, have that power because they resonated, so they actually matched up with it in alignment to the show, as an example.
So Kathy here is asking, how do we get a card? So many people are asking about the card. And so, kellyrivers.com, is that right, Kelly? That where
I just typed it in. Yeah, and a couple.
Make sure that all the networks actually are all in sync, so that these cards will get to Kelly ASAP. We just got that confirmed this morning. Maureen, you did it again.
Wasn't me. Nothing to do with me.
Well, it's us. I know you've done a lot, so thank you so much.
Combination, and it's who we are. It's who we are. And I know I embody, the frequency of IRT, and it happens. It just I support people in catalyzing that part of themselves as well, which is just awesome. And that's my joy.
Yeah, it's very expansive, and it's not expensive.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's life-changing, and it opens your heart, it opens your mind, and you're so easy and fun to work with, Maureen. She's just so, totally. There's not a judgmental bone in her body. She's just there to support you and be like, just be your authentic self. And she really makes it easy and effortless. It's so nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think our time is about up. Do you guys have any questions? Please write it in. And do you guys have any final words to leave your people?
I want to say thank you to Maureen, and then thank you to Kelly, and I want to say thank you to Kelly's audience for having me here.
And you'll see you next week.
Is it enough for me to say ditto, ditto, ditto?
Just a little bit.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and thank you everyone else for watching. And look out for Kamara and myself and Michael. We'll be doing a video describing these cards in the next week or so. And the cards will be ready on kellyrivers.com in probably 2 weeks, say.
Right? I love how you say look out for. Look out for.
Be on the lookout, and that's
Here they come.
KELLIRIVERS. Okay, thank you guys so much. We'll talk soon.
That was fun. Thank you.
I know, thanks. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody. Bye.